What's up, guys? Fantasy Joe back here with some more Dynasty content. Today we are going to be talking about who I think I would be spending the number one rookie pick on in a redraft league. Obviously, most redraft leagues or most rookie drafts, you're going to be doing them after the draft, even in your Dynasty leagues. And if you're a redraft player, you'll know where these rookies have landed. But we'll be talking about ahead of time and some of their possible landing locations. I'll come out with rankings once they are all landed. But I'm going to be talking about the safest prospect, I think, in this draft, and that's Jamar Chase, who I think you should be spending the number one rookie pick on, and I'm going to be making the case for that today. If you're new to the channel, please hit that like button down below on this video. It helps out a ton. Hit that subscribe button down below. And if you have any questions or comments, leave them in the comments as always. Let's get into the Jamar Chase rookie talk. Okay, so Jamar Chase's measurables from his recent pro day. His height, he came in at a little bit over 6 foot, but that's solid NFL. That's solid size for an NFL wide receiver. 201 pounds. The hand, arm size, wingspan, not really important, but I'll check the box. Nothing that raised any red flags there. His 40-yard dash, he ran a 4.38. That was obviously an unofficial time, though. Pro day times are a little bit faster than the time that is usually taken at a combine, laser timed. So I would say bump that time probably up to a 4.48 at the combine normal year, but that's still a very good time for Jamar Chase and the type of player he is. A vertical jump of 41 inches is very good, and a broad jump of 11 inches is good as well. Showcases his explosiveness. Definitely an explosive player, and that 40-yard dash time, like I said, he's more of the physical type of wide receiver. Likes to, not the most nuanced route runner per se, but a solid route runner, and he attacks the ball in the air, can really go up and get it, has the right mentality for a number one wide receiver. And we saw him absolutely dominate in LSU, especially in the national championship game against Clemson, going against corners like A.J. Terrell, first-round players, and just was dominating in the national championship game, dominated the SEC. We saw how well he did in his sophomore season. So let's get into some production. We have player A, player B, player C. Player A had 111 targets, 84 receptions, good for 1,780 yards and 21.2 yards per reception and 20 receiving touchdowns. He averaged 3.06 fantasy points per target, which is a stat that I like to use because I think it shows something for wide receivers, because it shows that you can only score fantasy points when you're targeted. So it shows what he did with his targets and how he is able to produce for fantasy at the collegiate level with those stats. Player B had 122 targets, 111 receptions, 1,540 yards, good for 13.9 yards per reception, 18 receiving touchdowns, and 2.6 fantasy points per target. Now, player C had 147 targets, 117 receptions, 1,856 yards, good for 15.9 yards per reception, 23 receiving touchdowns, and had 2.599 fantasy points per target. Now, I know you're probably wondering who these receivers are, and I will tell you. Player A is Jamar Chase in 2019. Player B is Justin Jefferson in 2019. And player C is Devonta Smith in 2020 when he won the Heisman. Now, the reason this is so important, because look at player A and player B. This was Jamar Chase's sophomore season, Justin Jefferson's junior season, I believe, when they were both at LSU with Joe Burrow. Now, Justin Jefferson just broke the rookie receiving record with a 1,400-yard season. And if you look at their stats when they were both in college together, Jamar Chase outproduced Justin Jefferson on even fewer targets. Now, you can say, they were used to do different things, but that is a stark difference when you look at 3.06 fantasy points per target compared to 2.6 fantasy points per target. He also had more yards and more touchdowns. Now, is that all Justin Jefferson's fault? That's just the area he's used. He was used typically more as a slot receiver in college and a little bit more on the outside in the NFL. But that's just to put in perspective how good we've seen Justin Jefferson is. And the last time we saw Jamar Chase in the field with him, he was even better than him. Player C is Devonta Smith, who I think you just have to put in perspective how many targets he was getting compared to what Jamar Chase was and the type of season he was still able to put together. And like I said Jamar Chase might not be the biggest speed guy. He's not exactly a burner Although he ran, a four, but when you see that time in the 4.4s with his athletic ability and what he can do, and he's a powerful, like his run after the catch he's just a determined runner. He's not a bad athlete either by any means. That's not what I'm trying to say. But I'm just saying he's not, Tyreek Hill speed or got the size of an AJ Green or anything like that. He's a little bit more of a compact body, but just really has the ferocity and attitude to be an NFL wide receiver and win at that level. Now, this is why I would be taking Ja'Marr Chase at that pick, because we've seen Justin Jefferson already be a top tier fantasy wide receiver. He was a top 6 wide receiver, I believe, in 2020. And Ja'Marr Chase was even better than he was with Joe Burrow. And I think that's one of the landing spots that we could see Ja'Marr Chase potentially fall to. There's been a lot of rumors lately about the Bengals taking him at 5. Now, is this smokescreen because they want Penei Sewell? Who knows at this point? I think the Penei Sewell pick makes a lot more pick for their franchise, protect their quarterback with a left tackle and Joe Burrow. But we don't know what the Bengals are going to end up deciding to do. If they do take Ja'Marr Chase and reunite Joe Burrow and Ja'Marr Chase is going to be absolutely fantastic for fantasy year one and in his career. And I expect him to absolutely dominate. And he's who I would be taking with the number 1 overall pick, because running backs like Travis Etienne and Najee Harris, although I really like them and they could go to a really good landing spot, you just don't know at the end of the day how long they're going to last. And that's why I would probably go with the receiver. I think if you take Ja'Marr Chase, I'm going to get 10 years of really, really good production from him. And I'm not that worried about him aging. Even after 30, I think he can produce. So in a Dynasty League, he's the player I'd be taking with the number 1 overall pick. And that is the case I've made for him being the number 1 overall pick. Let's talk about some of Ja'Marr Chase's comps, what I compare him to from his college game to who he profiles at the next level. Now, these are 3 comps that I use: Anquan Boldin, Dez Bryant, and Steve Smith Sr. These are all players that Steve Smith Jr., excuse me. These are all players that I believe play a similar type of football to him. They have different, Steve Smith was obviously a smaller player, but that type of ferocity that he had. Steve Smith Sr., like I said, he just played the game, was a little bit undersized, more compact, but catch the ball. We all saw what he did. He's a future Hall of Famer. Dez Bryant, he had those 16 touchdown years. He might be a little bit taller than him, but still that same athletic ability, not the most nuanced route runner, but can attack the ball. And Anquan Boldin, same thing. The way he attacks the football in the air is why these players are here. And that's the type of player I think Ja'Marr Chase is going to be, and I think he's going to dominate at the next level. So I would draft him with the number 1 overall pick in rookie drafts. If you like this video, please hit the like button, hit that subscribe button down below. Stay tuned for all our Dynasty news coming to you soon. We do Dynasty, redraft, all of it, mock drafts every Monday, and we'll be posting multiple mock drafts throughout the week. This is Fancy Joe. Till next time, peace out.